Good evening, and thank you for being with us this evening as we come together to celebrate the life and memories of Tom Zwitter. Even though it's been several years since Tom has moved away from Fox Valley, he was so involved in so many areas of this spiritual community, the music team, the men's group. I was a board member. He was my board president. He was a volunteer. He was a supporter in many different ways. And there were a lot of people who interacted with him, benefiting very much from his gifts and his talents. And so we want to remember and celebrate him because he made us what we are today. So we're going to start with music because music and the music team was just one area that was so important to him. And take it away.
God, you are every mountain. God, you are every ocean. God, you are every canyon, every inch of earth and sky. God, you are every morning. God, you are every midnight. God, you are every moment, every second of my life. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you. God, you are every sunrise. God, you are every moon glow. God, you are every starshine, every inch of earth and sky. God, you are every springtime. God, you are every snowfall. God, you are every season, every second of my life. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you. And you are the very breath I breathe. And your perfect love created me. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you.
Tom was a longtime Unity person, so there's going to be a fair amount of Unity stuff in this service, not to mention several musical pieces, because again, this is his team. Tom grew up in Unity, and I was thinking, when I found that out about him, what a wonderful gift to be raised in a spiritual belief that believes in the innate goodness and creativity and power we possess as our natural birthright. How empowering that must have been from an early age. Tom's mother exposed him to the daily word and Unity prayers and beliefs, and it's only appropriate to include the daily word in our service tonight. But as I was thinking about that, I thought, well, which daily word So I checked with Unity Archives for the daily word of the day of his birth, and somehow that didn't do it. But I looked, and the daily word from the day that he passed, I think, is just perfect. And so that was August 2nd of this year. And the daily word for the day is caring. My caring acts share the love of God. To hold another in prayer, to touch someone's hand in comfort, to give to those in need, these are the ways we can bring my caring impulses to life. I feel a call to care deeply in my heart. It is a nudge from God within to make my divine gift of love manifest. Like all divine gifts, love only multiplies when it is shared. Caring acts, too, inspire others to bring more and more caring into the world. The more invested I become in helping and healing the world and my fellow spiritual beings, the more I grow in compassion and understanding. The more I love and the more I care, the more I grow in the full awareness and expression of my divinity. And if that doesn't explain Tom, I don't know what does. So the word is caring. Tom also would have grown up with this profound prayer and affirmation by Charles Fillmore, one of Unity's founders. And I've always thought this was such a powerful prayer, and I'm glad we're starting to say that on Sundays. I am now in the presence of pure being and immersed in the Holy Spirit of life, love, and wisdom. I acknowledge your presence and your power, O blessed Spirit. In your divine wisdom, now erase my mortal limitations, and from your pure substance of love, bring into manifestation my world according to your perfect law. Next, we'd like to share with you an old Unity prayer that Tom loved, and his mother prayed with him at night. And I gather he told the music team that they used to sing this. This is the prayer of faith.
God is my help in every need. God does my every hunger feed. God walks beside me and guides my way through every moment of every day. I am now wise, I am now true, patient and kind and loving too. All things I am, I can do and be through Christ the truth that is in me. God is my health, I cannot be sick. God is my strength, unfailing quick. God is my all, I know no fear, through Christ the truth that is in me. When for a purpose I had prayed and prayed and prayed, until my words seemed worn and bare with arduous use, and I had knocked and asked and knocked and asked and knocked and asked again. And all my fervor and persistence brought no hope. I paused to give my weary brain a rest and ceased my anxious human cry. In that still moment, after self had tried and failed, there came a glorious vision of God's power. And lo, my prayer was answered in that hour.
And I wasn't the only person who knew and interacted with Tom. And so we have a couple people who would like to share their thoughts and remembrances about Tom. Reverend Mike?
I don't think I'm sharing any great news with you, but Tom was just an incredible person. My first encounter with him was when I came to Unity of Fox Valley to spell Reverend Jan while she took a sabbatical. And I was a ministerial student and very green and very rough around the edges. And I learned very quickly, because I was seeking, what was the leadership of this place. And I was not just looking for the people who held office or were staff members, but for those people that, really guided and drove the undercurrent in the spirit of this church. Which, by the way, from day one, in my personal experience, has just been wonderful. And Tom really personified that in so many ways. He wasn't a boisterous leader. Even when he was president of the board, he led just by being Tom. But he would come into the office that I was occupying, Jan's office while she was away, and chit-chat with me, and very subtly asked me how I was and how I was doing and was there anything that I needed. A lot of that by reference, so as to not make me feel or look small, was the read that I took from that. And over the years, I got to know Tom fairly well. He invited me to go golfing with him, which I did on multiple occasions, a couple times with Terry and other friends. And we would always wager really big money, like a nickel a hole. Okay. And he would always beat me and always would demand that I coughed up the 15 cents or whatever it was. And then one time I said, I'm going to teach him a lesson. I'm going to invite him to come to the club that I had belonged to at that time, Rolling Green. And I had a group of my tennis buddies who played golf all of the time as well. And Tom was probably 10, 12 years their senior. And he consistently was driving the ball 20 yards further than any of them were able to. And I didn't succeed in embarrassing him. It meant a lot to me after dinner after one of those occasions, when somebody from my tennis group said, "So what kind of a minister is Mike?" And I just felt really proud when Tom just said, "He's a really good one." And that meant so much to me. When Tom and Becky moved away, I really missed him. I missed his quiet leadership, and I'm sure I'm not alone in expressing that. I think that we all did. It's, a really tough, loving act to follow. And just to share my own relationship with Tom, a couple of things. Once I was teaching a class, and he was sitting in on a class, and then all of a sudden he disappeared because he was very involved with music, and it was a rehearsal night, so he left my class to go and rehearse for the music. And I said, "Hey, you left my class." He says, "I know, I went to rehearse for the music." And I said, "Well, I really feel offended." And he said, "Well, how did the class go?" And I said, "Great." he said, "Why are you complaining?" And on another occasion, I was conscious that I was wearing a tie that was no longer in style. It was a wide tie. And I told him I feel embarrassed about it. And he said, "It does look a little thick." And I said, "Well, Tom, so do you." So we had that repartee between us, which I treasure so very much. And so I will share with you, on a couple of days before he passed away, before he made his transition, he called me to tell me three things. One was, he said, "Mike, I'm in palliative care." And I knew he had been struggling with some health issues, and I was just really upset and expressed to him my feelings that I was upset. And of course, was there anything at all that I could do besides pray, for him or for Becky or for the family? And the second thing that he said to me is, "I'm sending a gift, a financial gift to the church," which he did, a very nice financial gift to the church. But what stuck with me the most was the third thing that he said to me, which consisted of only 5 words. His last words to me were, "You are a shitty golfer." Again, it spoke to what I treasured with this man that we know as Tom Zwitter.
Thanks, Mike. And Carl? Yeah.
Tom was our electric bass guitar player. And if you're going to be the bass, there are certain qualities that you have to have, certain things you have to provide. You have to be, you're the foundation that the music is built on. You're right there at the bottom, everybody's up on top, and so you're the foundation. You have to be steady, you have to be solid, you have to be even-keeled. And Tom was all of these things. But he was more than that. To be a bass player, you don't have to be kind, you don't have to be friendly, you don't have to be good-humored. But Tom was all of those things too. Reverend Jan asked me to say something here. And when she did, my background in storytelling came out, and I thought, okay, I'll just come up with a nice story, and that will help bring out what I want to say about Tom. Nothing came. Nothing still has come. So when I think back to Tom, those qualities that I just listed, that's what's there. When I see him in my mind, I associate that image with those qualities. Tom was our electric bass guitar player. That's how I remember him, and for me, that's enough.
Thanks, Carl. And Terry, how would you like to share some words with us?
And you'll have to forgive me because I'm going to probably read a lot of this so I don't miss anything. Tom and I shared a very special relationship outside the church too. So There's a lot of things that I want to cover here. My wife and I, Susan, first met Tom and Becky in 2007 when we came to Unity, Fox Valley Unity. We all attended a class by Marge Orchard on Eric Butterworth, I think it was. Now, I don't know if Tom read the book cover to cover, but I know that he really got involved when it came to the discussions, okay? He had some very good-natured debates. Tom was part owner of Webster Hoff Company. I better put my glasses on so I can see this. And that company specialized in injection molded sintered metal products, okay? And I know you're probably thinking, what in the world is sintered metal? Well, I have a background in tool design and mechanical engineering, so Tom and I could talk about it for hours. We shared a nerdy kind of excitement over injection molding and secondary processes, conversation that admittedly drove our wives crazy. I remember one time invited Susan and I to his company for an open house. And I probably asked him more questions than anyone else that day, but Tom was very patient and very proud of the work he did at that company. Beyond our shared professional interests, Tom and I enjoyed taking the train downtown with our wives, but Tom and I would sit across from each other. The girls would sit over to the side, and we would talk about almost everything, including religion, mechanics, life in general, and of course, politics. Now, let me just say that our political views didn't always align. Sometimes they were opposite, more opposite than parallel. But even when we didn't agree, we had the kind of respectful debates where nobody got red-faced unless it was from laughing at each other's stubbornness. Okay? Tom was also a pioneer of sorts. He was the first person I knew who had robotic surgery. And when I had to go through a similar procedure, Tom was like, it's no big deal. You'll be back on the golf course in no time. He had a way of easing people's nerves, making everything sound less dramatic than it actually was. He was always ready to share his experiences, and even if it was just to say, trust me, you'll be fine. Now, to say Tom was not competitive was an understatement, but that did not mean he wasn't determined. After his hip replacement, he still wanted to play tennis. I introduced him to the group of guys I regularly played with, and while at first he wasn't exactly a threat on the court, he quickly got the hang of it. Soon you had to be careful not to hit the ball to his forehand, or he'd rocket it back faster than you could blink. It was like he found the turbo button on his racket. But tennis was just the warm-up for Tom. He really loved golf, and golf loved Tom. He was the kind of guy who would give you tips on the course, and this is maybe why Mike, he kind of did so well, because some of the tips were like, the best thing you could do with a fairway wood was to put it in a fireplace and burn it. Okay? Another thing was he introduced me to some very critical moves like the foot wedge. Okay? When your ball is not like behind a tree and you need to get it to the green, you just kick it out with your foot. He also introduced me to how to get out of a sand trap. And sometimes getting out of a sand trap is very difficult because you could hit the ball and all you get is sand. He said, just pick it up and throw it out. Okay? Now, Tom and let's see, And some people might call that cheating, what he was doing in golf, but Tom called it strategic maneuvers. Tom wasn't afraid of trying new things either. He joined the church choir, and to add some depth to the music, he taught himself how to play bass guitar. I remember when he came over to my house, and we jammed together, me on keyboard, him on bass. We weren't exactly the Rolling Stones, but we sure had fun. Sometimes we'd get halfway through a song, and he'd look at me and he said, Terry, what key are we in? And we just laugh it off and keep playing. Tom and Becky had a winter home in Palm Desert, California, and they loved inviting friends to visit. We took them up on the invite when Susan's brother bought a home in Palm Springs, not too far away from Tom's house. Now, let me tell you, Tom's version of a relaxing visit was to setting up matches for tennis, golf, and pickleball. Okay? And I thought I'd stand a chance even after my own hip replacement, but no way. He trounced me at all three of those. Tom always had a rematch waiting, though, and I think he enjoyed giving me a second chance as much as I enjoyed not trying to lose again. The last time I saw Tom was just before he moved from Geneva to Reno. He was having a garage sale, and I was shocked to see all the woodworking tools that he was selling. Here I'd known him for all these years, and he never once mentioned that he was a woodworker. Turns out there were a lot of things that Tom did for others that he never mentioned. Like his woodworking, he just quietly went about helping where he could. The day before he passed, Tom called me, which is, and I've never had anything like that happen before. It was very moving, and I think about him every day now. It was a shock because we hadn't spoken for a long time, and I hadn't realized how bad his health had, how much his health had declined. I regret not staying in touch more often, but I'll always be grateful for the friendship we had. When I sat down to think about what to say for today, I wasn't sure where to start, but now looking back on all those shared experiences, I realized Tom left a lasting impact on my life and the life of so many other people. He will be deeply missed, but his spirit and his laughter and all those good debates will live on in our memories. Rest in peace, Tom. We will miss your wit, your wisdom, and your wicked forehand.
Thanks, Terry. And guess what? We have more music.
Spirits journey, sailing on the ocean, oceans of wonders, oceans of love. Spirits journey, learning what we're
all have our own memories of Tom because he was so involved in so many areas of our church. I can't think of an area that he hasn't touched somehow. I mentioned, that Tom was very involved with the music team. Sundays, healing services, he particularly loved to do those, special services. And when I first mentioned to the music team that I was thinking about doing this memorial in memory of his important contributions to our spiritual community, every single one of them said, yes, we'll be there, we'll be part of it, because he was part of their musical family. I first got to know Tom early days in my ministry, and he came to see me in my office to work through a problem he was having. And I was newer at ministry at the time, and I thought, well, of course, he would come to his minister for some insights, because unity and unity beliefs were such an integral part of him. So he was wrestling with something, and talked to the minister, and that was me. So I got to know him in a very different way than many of you know him. He really supported our spiritual community with his financial resources, with his volunteering, with his involvement. He was involved in the men's group. They did Heavenly Hosts, the music team, and our board. I had the wonderful experience of having Tom on my board and also as my board president. And he also helped set up an endowment for Unity of Fox Valley so that we could continue our work long after he was gone and I was gone. Again, just showing where his heart and his spirit was. He had a generosity of spirit with his time, with his resources, and his business knowledge. Speaking of his generosity, one day after the board meeting, we all went outside, and we were admiring his Porsche convertible. One of the board members said, "Oh, that is my dream car." Tom put his hand in his pocket, pulled out the keys. He said, "Take it for a spin." And I'm thinking, oh my God, do you know what the insurance is on a Porsche car? Anyway, she hopped in the car and took off. It was a while before she came back. She was having a ball. And I'm thinking, do you know how much horsepower is under that hood? He doesn't even know if she's a good driver or not. I'm thinking all of these things, and he blithely just sort of passes the keys along. And as far as Tom was concerned, he was giving her a taste of her dream. So like Tom, he had a great sense of humor, as you've heard. And from time to time, I'd catch Tom and Reverend Mike off sniggering over some joke or some bad pun off in the corners somewhere. When I needed to get away later in my ministry for some really much-needed R&R, he invited me to stay with him and Becky at their lovely home in Palm Desert, where I could just relax and soak up the sun. I wanted to relax more, but he wanted me to play pickleball and swim. And I was like, just let me have my tea here. One of my strongest impressions of him, though, was when I was staying with them in Palm Desert. And I knew he was a loving grandpa, no doubt about it. They used to, even when he lived here, they used to go out several times and visit family and babysit the grandkids. And then when he moved out to Palm Desert. It seemed like almost every day at a certain time, he would get out his iPad and he'd be talking with the kids, find out what they're doing, what was the latest project in school, what they had to show him. And there was such an amazing bond between his grandkids and him. As I think about all these little vignettes, and there's so many of them, they're really representations, outer manifestations of that inner man, that inner character. And as I was pulling this eulogy together, I was very reminded of a lovely article that was attributed to Ralph Waldo Emerson on what it means to be a success. And it was a much longer article, but it closed and it said, to know that even one life has breathed easier because you have lived, that is to succeed. Tom touched a lot of lives. And by all indications, he was a rousing success. So, as I take a breath here, Kim and Rose have a special number for us.
In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and see there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. When I lose myself, when it seems I've lost my way, when I go inside and quiet my mind, I can hear Spirit gently say, there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love.
I've missed you too. Thanks for being with us, Kim. And so we close this time of remembering and celebrating. We hold Tom's ongoing spirit in our thoughts and prayers, and we hold Becky and Tom's family, and especially his grandchildren, in our love and prayers. Knowing he had quite an effect on this spiritual community and will be sorely missed. But his love and attention and presence will remain with each of us to surround and support. The family is what we come together to do, to celebrate the man, to remind the family that he has yet another spiritual family. And so we surround and support them in our love and our prayers as they go through their time of grief in the coming days and months. And so I'd like to close with a prayer. Beloved God, we feel you with us today in the energy of our shared emotions and in our appreciation of his light and love that Tom brought to his family and friends and indeed to all those whose lives he's touched. We now know that his ongoing spirit continues to express your presence and your power through new opportunities and to new dimensions. For the privilege and power and presence and pleasure of Tom's presence with us, our certainty that his journey continues to unfold, we are deeply grateful and we say, Amen. And now we have only love, only peace.
No more pain, no more fear, no more doubt lingers here. No more want, no more need, no more fail or succeed. Only love, only peace, only joy for release. Only clear is our sight as we move into light. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. No more games played to win, no more blame held within, no more weak, no more strong, no more right, and no more wrong. Only love, only peace, only joy for release. Only clear is our sight as we move into light. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. No more cross made to bear, no disease or despair, no more walls more yours, no more mine, only love, only peace, only joy, for release, only clear is our sight as we move into light. Only love, only peace, only joy, for release, only clear is our sight as we move into light. Alleluia, 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 alleluia.
And one of the things I love to do is bless Tom's ongoing spirit with our unity prayer of protection. And we do it 2 times. The first time we do it, we're blessing Tom, his ongoing spirit. So we say you. And the second time we say the prayer of protection, we say it for us and for Tom's family, to bless them as they're going through this time. So this is in your bulletins if you want to follow along. And the first time we say, the light of God surrounds you, the love of God enfolds you, the power of God protects you, the presence of God watches over you. Wherever you are, God is, and all is well. And now we bless his family, and we also bless ourselves. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And one last tiny bit of music.
Is the world a little more peaceful? Oceans and sky a little more blue? Is humankind a little bit wiser about the good that we can do? Does the sun shine a little bit brighter where before there was only rain? If so, then we're glad you came. Have I given hope to the hopeless? Has a hungry soul been fed? Has a child stood a little bit taller 'cause of something that I've said? Have I left a little kindness? Have I eased a little pain? If so, then we're glad you came. Thank you, Tom.
And thank you for coming and sharing with us, and our magnificent music team also for being part of this service. If you would like, we have some refreshments downstairs. If you would like to partake of that and maybe share some of your own thoughts about Tom. But again, thank you for coming this evening.
Thank you, Reverend Jan.